Students, let's continue the chapter. You know that condition of common people in France was quite bad. They were burdened with heavy taxes and they were exploited socially, economically, politically by the people of second and first estate. In this kind of situation, when the news that Louis XVI had planned to increase the taxes, the people became very angry and they protested against the system. Let's see what was the scene actually. Students, you have learned that the king had an empty treasury. He had to pay huge amount of money as rate of interest to the money lenders. He also had to meet regular expenses of the state. So he decided to increase taxes. But in old regime, the monarch did not have power to increase taxes according to his will. He had to call a meeting of Estates General, which would then pass the proposal for new taxes. Students, what was this Estates General? Estates General was a political body to which three estates sent their representatives. Students, the king alone could decide when to call the meeting of Estates General. The last time it was called in 1614. On 5th May 1789, Louis XVI called an assembly of Estates General to pass the proposal of increment in taxes. A very beautiful hall was prepared in Versailles to host the representatives of first, second, and third estate. In this hall, first and second estate sent 300 representatives each. These representatives seated in rows facing to each other, while 600 members of third estate had to stand the back. The representatives sent by third estate were rich and educated members, peasants, artisans, workers, students, peasants, artisans, women were not allowed to enter in that assembly. There was a principle of voting in Estates General that each estate had one vote. Means 300 members of first estate had one vote. 300 members of second estate had one vote. 600 members of third estate also had one vote. So far, the idea was one estate, one vote. So definitely, the clergy and noblemen were always together. So they would have ruling power over third estate always and always. But now, the people of third estate wanted to move from this idea, the idea of one estate, one vote, to one vote, one representative. Means one man should have one vote. So there was 600 representatives of third estate. They would have 600 votes, and the nobility and clergy would also have 600 votes. In this way, they wanted that the voice of third estate would be equally represented rather than wisely represented. This idea of change from one state, one vote to one vote, one man was a major development. The idea of third estate to get equal representation was not accepted by the monarch. So, the representatives of third estate walked out of the hall. On 20th June 1789, they assembled in the hall. That hall was known as Indoor Tennis Court in the grounds of Versailles. This is the picture of that hall. And these representatives formed an assembly which was called as National Assembly. And they drafted their own constitution. Their head was Mirabeau, who was basically born in a noble family, but he was convinced with the idea and need of common man. He supported them. During that time, Abbe Sieyès wrote pamphlets. What is third estate? He belonged to clergy, but he supported the cause of third estate. Students, while this National Assembly was busy in drafting a constitution, the rest of the France, the other people of the France, boiled with anger. What happened to them? Why these people became so angry? These people became very angry because there was a severe winter that year and there was less production of food grains that year. Again, there became a situation of food scarcity. Again, the prices of bread rose and the bakers started exploiting the people by hoarding supplies. After spending hours in long queues outside the bakery, the women became angry and they rushed into the shops. At the same time, the king ordered the army to move into the city of Paris. On 14th July, the agitated mob attacked and destroyed the Bastille. They demolished the fortress of Bastille. At the same time, in the countryside, rumors spread that the landlords had hired goons who were coming to destroy the ripe crops. The people were scared of this kind of rumors and they could not control their emotions. So they took their agricultural tools and attacked chateaus. Students, chateau was a place where a king or a nobleman lived. It was the residence of a king or a nobleman. The people looted the hoarded grains. They burnt down the documents containing the records of manorial dues, like charges of rents, fees which they charge in exchange of giving lands to peasants. As a result, a large number of noblemen fled from homes. Many of them left the country and went to other neighboring countries. Now, the king saw that the people who were revolting became very powerful. So, he finally recognized the National Assembly and accepted the principle made by them. From now, the powers of the king would be checked by the Constitution. On the night of 4th August 1789, the National Assembly passed a decree. Decree means an order. The National Assembly passed an order which abolished the feudal system. Now, the feudal lords could no longer impose tax on people, and they could not make anyone to work for them. The members of clergy were also forced to give up their privileges. Teeth were abolished. The clergy could no longer impose taxes on common men, and the land owned by the church were also taken away from it. As a result, the government got property worth 2 million. This was very beneficial for the falling economy of France. Students, today we learned